Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coaches Unscripted Podcast. I'm your host, Trey Belcher, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner in this adventure, owner of Go Performance in Clarksburg, Maryland, and Gemini Fitness Solutions, Corey Smallwood.
What's up, Trey?
How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. I think that's the fastest I've ever heard you talk in my entire life.
Well, those test runs have really paid off.
You were spitting right there. That was good.
I'm working on it. I've been told that I drag things out too much, and I realize that it is a problem and something I'm really working on. So 2025, here we are. New year, new me.
Kudos. That was great, man. That was great.
So while we're here, ladies and gentlemen, is to share stories, share in our successes, share in some of the trials and tribulations that have made us who we are, and our guests when they come in to help each other and to help other fitness trainers and coaches and gym owners to navigate the difficulties in the strength and conditioning fitness world to help us all grow and get better. And it's more about the people involved and the humans that are in this space and how we can help each other all grow and get better.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things when we were pitched this idea, well over a year and a half ago. And, as we've been spitballing ideas, there's a lot of podcasts in this space. I mean, everybody is doing a podcast. And when we were talking about it, we just didn't want another run-of-the-mill fitness podcast. And so, we bounced a lot of ideas back and forth. And really what it comes down to, some of the most unique people in this industry have some of the greatest stories. And as we talk about, who would be a great guest and that type of stuff, we always ended up talking about stories we've heard that they have told or that we knew about them. And that's something that we definitely want to bring to light in the Coaches Unscripted podcast, is that when we bring our guests on, it's not just going to be, there will absolutely always have some applicable information that you can take back and add to your gym immediately. But some of the best things that we have planned are learning a little bit more about these industry leaders and drawing from their mistakes and their trials and tribulations and their blood, sweat, and tears so that we don't have to make the same mistakes as they did.
Yes. Part of this for me is to know who they are, mm-hmm. what made them, what brought them here,
correct,
and how can we personally glean this information to help ourselves, but how can we help you guys out there? How can we all learn from each other and grow and get better and build the lives that we want and support our families and support our clientele and do all the things that we want to do and accomplish in life and to share in that workload to build each other up and to make it a little bit easier on you and to have a little fun along the way and to learn some things. And, for me personally, I want to ask these people these questions just as much as, I would want to share it with you. So mm-hmm. It is a deeply personal thing, and it's always better to do it with your friends. And that's why I couldn't imagine not doing this with Corey and all of our guests that are going to come on. So it's a shared experience, and it is and life is a shared experience, and right. Business is a shared experience. So how can we help each other? How can we help you? And how can we have some fun along the way?
And that's, I think is also unique is that, I'm a coach, I'm a gym owner, you're a coach, you introduced me, but ladies and gentlemen, this is Trey Belcher, and he owns, he is his own training gym yep. as well. So, we're not just, spilling the information to you. We're going to utilize this in our own facilities. I mean, every guest that we have on, or as we're talking, there are going to be times that, a lot of the podcasts will just be you and me hey, here's what we experience in our gym. Hey, have you tried this, or have you experienced that, or have you used that software or something like that, where, we'll just pass that information on as well. And hopefully we get a lot of feedback, whether they're watching this on YouTube or one of the other platforms, that they'll say they can start asking us questions as well. And it can be very interactive and dynamic in that aspect as well.
Sure, 100%. And two things there, you know, I just put out a video on Instagram this morning about how I'm terrible at social media. It is a huge gap for
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And Corey, you being one of the industry leaders in AI and how AI can help your gym facility, I ask you questions all the time, and you've been a huge help for me in incorporating AI into my business and my workload to make things easier. So,
Mm-hmm.
we bounce these ideas off of each other. And, you're right, I didn't do a very good job of introducing myself. I'm Trey Belcher, and I own Trey Belcher Training in Danville, Virginia. So, welcome everyone.
Maybe I dropped the ball. Maybe you introduced me. I was supposed to introduce you.
Well, yeah, well, it's
Working out the kinks.
episode 1, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. we'll be dialed in by episode 5.
Yeah,
Promise you that.
500,
100.
whatever. Hey, just like anything else, we're learning as we go, and
Yeah.
this was, like Corey said, this thing has been a year and a half in the making, and how we got here, we both went to Tom Plummer's speaker school, and Corey and Tom go way back, and they have been, the right hand, Corey was Tom's right hand man for many years, and I reached out to Gerard Griffey from Perform Better, and I asked Griff who I needed to know, who the good people were, and he said, you need to get with Corey Smallwood. He said, you guys think alike, you guys are very similar, I think you guys will hit it off. And he was 100% right. So leaning on your friends, leaning on people who you trust to connect you with other people, and so that's how we got here. And we go, fast forward 4 months, we meet, we connect, we go to the Perform Better Summit in Providence, Rhode Island, and Ed McKay, who was also at speaker school and doing some of the social media for Perform Better, Ed is doing interviews with people, and I do an interview for about 5 minutes, and then Corey comes in and we do a 2-person interview for about 15 minutes, and Ed just flippantly throws out when we finish, hey, that was pretty good, you guys should do a podcast. And that was August of 2023.
Yeah.
And here we are in January of 2025 doing episode 1. So, things don't always happen immediately. And that's one thing that's, that we've got to give ourselves a little bit of grace for, because, we always want things right now, and we want things yesterday, and we want things to happen the way we want, when we want, how we want. And sometimes that's just not reality. So, creating a space where we can hopefully help expedite some of those processes is what we're all about. So, it's, an overnight, a year and a half overnight success when so.
Right. Yeah. I always, as we go through this, and I encourage my staff to put themselves in these new situations, something we knew nothing about. And by the way, guys, I am just, I'm like the color commentary guy. This whole thing is, I want to get into some dodgeball quotes, right? Right, Cotton. But Trey's the guy that's doing all this. He's done most of the research on all the different applications and tools that actually produce these podcasts. But as we were going through this, there's a huge learning curve, right? And it was daunting. It was intimidating. It was, are we ready for this? Is this the right time? We're asking all these questions. Well, that happens an awful lot for members that, come to sign up the gym. And, you might see this and go, wow, okay, well, it was a podcast. They got it done. There was so much like talking ourselves into this. And members go through the exact same thing, right? I've had members that have, I'll ask them, have you ever been to the gym before? And they've been to the parking lot and then drove away. And we think, well, right now is the time, but is it? Because we go through these experiences all the time where, we delay it. Even though this was something that, is going to be great. We tell members all the time, you're getting started today is going to be the best decision that you ever made for your health. It probably took them a long time to actually step foot in the gym. So putting ourselves in this experience, the next person that walks into my gym said that they've been thinking about it for a while. I'm not going to automatically go, well, what took you so long? I'm going to give them a little bit of grace and go, man, good for you guys for just even coming in today. I really appreciate that. So I like taking this whole process that we're going through to launch and get these podcast episodes up. I'm going to take that and see how can I apply that to either my members or my guests that are coming in to check out the gym for the first time.
Yeah, because we all have our blind spots. We all have our weaknesses. And, just as you said, getting to this point, and I, if nothing else, have dogged determination that I was going to get this done. And where it came from was I went out for a run one day, and I was listening to an audiobook. I just finished a book, so I was looking for the next audiobook. And that's how I kind of learn while I'm getting some work in. And I came across a book called The Mountain Is You. And I didn't know anything about this book, but the subtitle is Transforming Self-Sabotage into Self-Mastery. And I said, well, this has got to be for me. So I'm listening to this book, and early on it says, whatever the thing is that you struggle with, that's what you need to do. And the first thing that popped into my head was this podcast, because it had been just kind of in the back of my mind, but is it the right thing? Could I do it? Am I good enough? Can I host this thing? Is anybody going to listen to what I have to say? And as soon as that line was said, and it's a book, The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest, I said, oh, well, I guess we got to do this thing. So I came in from the run, and I reached out to Corey. I said, hey, you really want to, make this thing happen? And by putting it out there, then, hey, it's on the radar. So now I'm obligating myself.
Right. Now you're committed.
And I've committed, and doggone it, we got to make this thing happen. So it's not easy, because this is, I love to have fun. I love to joke and goof off and share the stories and tell the things. I'm not going to be the best X's and O's guy. There's going to be a lot more trainers that are far more technically and tactically advanced than me. But I think my strong suit is storytelling, is connecting with people, and that's why this thing exists the way that it does. And to bring people in and just talk and listen and learn and share it with my friends and share it with the world at large, and hopefully it becomes a place where people can go and spend 20 to 30 minutes and learn a little bit, but feel better finishing it than they did when they started it.
Well, I think we'll do the second half of that story, because I think that's where, when you reached out to Brian,
This is true, yeah.
This was, I mean, kind of bringing it full circle. This is really
so I
weird.
Read the book. Yep,
weird.
Yep. It's and I said this. We've talked about this before. I said it was a God thing. So I read this book, and I said, okay, this is the podcast. I've got to do this thing. So I reached out to our friend Brian Wynn, and I said, Brian, you are involved in this space far more than me. I trust you. I trust your judgment. I trust your guidance. I said, this is what Corey and I are talking about doing, but I need a little bit more help with it. He said, well, what you need to do is you need to read a book called The Mountain Is You. And I said, well, it's funny you say that, because that's why we're here. He said, you need to read The Mountain Is You, and you need to go to chapter 7. Well, at that time, I was on chapter 6. And so everything lined up perfectly. And you get these signs from the universe that you're on the right path.
Yeah.
And so, everything leads where it's supposed to lead. You just have to kind of throw your hands up and say, all right, I'm listening, guide me the right way.
Right.
And so here we are. The mountain is us.
The
So
mountain is us. That's right. Could be the mountain is you. Anybody listening to this. So that's and after I heard that story, I went, got the book, read the book. Good book. Highly recommended.
yeah,
So
and the funny thing is the last line of the book is, and I'm paraphrasing, is one day the mountain that was in front of you will be in your rearview mirror, and you will go through whatever that trial is that you have to go through, and you'll come out on the other side and you'll be better for it. And so, our mission is to help us and you guys get to the other side of that mountain, whatever
yep.
that mountain may be. And if it's just a few minute respite from that to kind of reset and have a good time and just, dump all your worries, that's what we're here for.
Right.
If it is to learn something and you may not know what that thing is, then that's what we're here for. So, it's a wonderful journey, and I'm hopeful for it, and I'm excited about it, and I'm glad to be on the path with you, my friend.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is we're gonna have a lot of fun doing this, and hopefully the audience and the listeners have fun and again get some good takeaways from it, but also hear some great stories and just I'll tell you, we've I just celebrated our 12th year with Go Performance, and there are days that you're just like, why am I doing this? Boy, man, this is hard. The great Tom Plummer line is, "This be the most amazing business if it wasn't for the members or the staff." So it still sticks in my head, and I'm just like, there are times I'm just like, oh man, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, it's still the most amazing job that you can have, and through these stories, hopefully motivate, inspire, refill their cup, re-energize, invigorate some of these viewers and listeners, and know that there are definitely going to be trials and tribulations, and if they can take one or two things from each one and hopefully apply it, then their business will just be that much better, or their coaching game will be just that much better, and the lives that they are able to impact will continue to grow.
Sure, 100%. And I think about my journey along this path. So when I got out of college, I sold insurance for 5 years. And I got out of insurance because I got tired of giving bad news. You're here to help people, but they've had some loss.
Mm-hmm.
Something has happened and they're coming to you. And too many times, I had to tell them, sorry, that I can't help you with that. And so I got out of that. And then I went into the fire service for 10 years. And I said, well, I'm going to help people. Well, I'm helping them on the worst day of their life. They've either had all their stuff burn up, they've had some sort of car crash, someone is sick or is dead, but I'm catching them at that moment where it is the worst possible moment. And it's noble work. And for all the firefighters out there, especially those guys out in California dealing with all the wildfires out there, God bless you, because I've been in the burning buildings. I ain't never been in anything like that, but I don't know who has. But you catch people on the worst day. And I got to a point, man, where I had seen enough loss and enough death.
Tragedy.
Yeah. And it started wearing on me, man. It
Yeah.
really did. And I thought I was a tough guy that could handle it all. And I got to the point where I was like, I've seen enough. I'm good on it. And on my days off, you talk about being 12 years in. So this is year 9 for Trey Belcher training. And I leave the fire station and I come here and I'm helping people, and it's direct, but we're laughing. We're sharing the stories. And when they walk in and then they walk out, they feel better. And I tell people every day, and this was one of the things that really got us connected back at the Cracker Barrel in Providence, was, I tell people every day I've got 3 jobs. Job 1 is to keep you safe. And I've got to teach you things the right way so that you can go out and do whatever you want in life And my job is to make that a little bit easier, make all those things easier. So job one is to keep you safe. Job two is to have fun, because if it's not fun, you're not going to want to do it. And job three is I want you feeling better walking out the door than you did walking in the door. And sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's mental, sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's spiritual, and sometimes it's a combination of all four of those things. But if I can do those three things every day, then we've had a good day.
That's right.
And I'll let you jump in and so tell your side of those three pillars to connect. But I had those things, and I had this juxtaposition. I had this dichotomy where I'm dealing with the losses on one side, and it's tough situations, very stressful. And then I come over here, and it's fun. So eventually I said, let's just have some fun. And I've totally homogenized my life. And I'm sort of, in some ways, embarrassed to say it, because, I get to wake up and put on my finest gym clothes and drink my coffee and hang out with my friends all day. And it's a wonderful, wonderful life.
Yeah, and get paid to do it. Right? Yeah. So that's a story in its own right. We end up in a Cracker Barrel because you would think two guys meet for the first time, we're going to go have some beers, and no, it's at a Cracker Barrel. And, we're chatting, and Trey says, I got three things that I try to do every single time a member comes into my gym. I'm going to keep them safe. We're going to have fun, and they're going to feel better, leaving than they come in. I go, man, that's awesome. I have 3 S's at my gym, and I've been preaching that since day one, and it's safe, sweaty smiles. I said, my goal is to keep you safe. You got to be sweating at some point. That means you're actually doing some work, and you need to be smiling when you leave here. So, the fact that there was another gym owner that tells me these 3 things, I got the same three things that that our staff that is the rules that they need to do in each training session. That was like instantly. I was like, okay, this is going to be a fun friendship. That's for sure.
Yeah, and to circle it all back to reaching out to a third friend, a third party, to say, who do I need to connect with? Who are the people that are going to help us build each other up? So shout out to Gerard Griffey. I know he would not like that, but we're going to shout him out anyway, and he didn't know those things.
Right.
I had never told him my 3 pillars on things, and I don't know if Corey, you told him your 3 S's, but just surrounding yourself with people who have a good understanding of the humanity of things, and understand how to really connect people the right way. And here we are, almost 2 years later, starting this adventure. So,
and it's the industry we think it's giant. We think it's massive. And really there's 3 components to the industry. You have the nonprofits, the YMCAs and JCCs, and they kind of have their own organizations. And then within the for-profit gyms, there are the giant gyms, the big box gyms that we call them, and then there's the training gyms or the boutique gyms or studio gyms or whatever name you want to give them. And it's really a small industry. I mean, there's 7 degrees of separation of Chris Poyer at Perform Better, or of Tom Plummer, or you can always trace it back to one of these, Neil Spruce at Apex and Dot Fit, and somebody that knows somebody that knows one of these industry pioneers, and you can kind of get connected that way. That so and so worked with Mike Boyle. Well, now Ben Bruno's on the West Coast, and you got Kevin Carr, and you got Brett. You got all these guys that were learned from Boyle, or learned from the Cosgroves, or somebody like that. It's really interesting. So, and that's people that are watching this hopefully will say, hey, do you guys know so and so? They would be awesome on your podcast. Well, maybe we don't, but if you do, hey, make that introduction. That would be that. I think this is going to be a neat community within itself.
Yeah, and for me personally, I just happen to be 15 minutes from FMS headquarters,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, Gray Cook and Lee Burton have been huge mentors to me, and without those guys, I'm not sitting here,
Right.
and all the connections that go along with that.
Yep.
Getting me to go to Perform Better, where I meet Griff and meet this person and that person and this person, and form friendships. And then I call Griff and say, "Hey, who do I need to meet?" Just the same, and he says,
Yep.
meet Corey, and so that's really what we're here for, is to connect people, with other people, to connect people with ideas, to connect people with actionable items, to connect people with stories, and to help build everybody up and build this industry up, and help make it a better place, leave it better than we found it.
Right.
So
Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave in the comments who some of the people that you would like to see on our podcast as guests. We have a lineup. We've had have some that we already have on the calendar.
Yep.
To be shot. But yeah, like I said, we're still meeting people and wanting to learn from the best of the best. So if there's somebody that you know of that we should reach out to, that you want to hear on this podcast, leave a comment, and we'll reach out to them.
Yeah, we are doggedly determined, and will not stop until we make the people happy. So
Right. Even if it's 5 people, we're gonna make all 5 of them real happy.
Hey, we've got to have your true followers.
Okay? Your mom, my mom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. My wife, and begrudgingly our children. So
Right. That's at least 8 right there.
So how do you find us? So this is the Coaches Unscripted Podcast, and you can find us on any of the podcast platforms. You can find us on YouTube at Coaches Unscripted Podcast, and interact with us. We will answer any questions that you have. We will engage. We want this to be interactive. We want this to be a community,
Correct.
and to create an environment where you want to be. And so we're here to serve. So, Coaches Unscripted Podcast on all the platforms, and like it, comment, share it, subscribe. We're here for all of it. So, Corey, I guess that's probably time to wrap it up.
That's right. We need a strong outro.
We do need a strong outro.
We got 9 out of 10 things done off the checklist. The outro. Forgot about the outro.
Hey, it's a work in progress, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
So, there again, for me, I'm Trey Belcher with Corey Smallwood. This has been the Coaches Unscripted Podcast. We thank you all for listening, and we will catch you guys real soon.